Hey Moon Magic family, welcome back to the channel and welcome to your moon month overview, your predictions for the coming moon month. I'm going to be drawing cards for every zodiac sign and additional runes for every zodiac sign, and all of this information will be giving predictions for an entire month to come, but this is a moon month. I do my readings according to the moon. We start with the new moon and we work through the entire moon month. I'm going to be giving you a heads up on the overall lunar flow of energy, how this might be affecting you. You might want to grab a pen and paper and make a few notes, because we'll also be looking at any kind of strong spikes of energy. And as I just said, we will be drawing cards and runes for every single zodiac sign. And in these readings, you might want to check out the reading for your sun sign, and also, if you know it, your moon sign and your rising sign as well. And of course, you can always cross-watch as well for friends, family, partners, potential partners, whatever is really present for you at this moment in time. So this moon month begins with a new moon, and it's a new moon eclipse in Aries. But this is literally on the cusp of Aries and Taurus, which is why we have these cards here. We are also in a Mercury retrograde period. And the cards and the runes you see here are the cards and the runes that were drawn in the Manifest with the Moon Astro-Moon diary for both April and May, because this moon month is actually going to span through the end of April and into the first few weeks of May. So this is the kind of time period that we're looking at. What I'm going to do now is run through an overview of the entire moon month, the different phases of the moon, the kind of energy that's coming, and then we will dive straight into those readings. And for anyone that's interested in the bigger extended readings, you'll be able to find those on Patreon. So Super Souls, let's move straight into the moon month, and I will put the timestamps in the description box below and also in a pinned comment. So if you just want to skip and go straight to the readings, you can find the timestamps there really, really easily. Super Souls, I will see you in just a moment. Let's begin this amazing moon month with this new moon eclipse in Aries. So let's look at the new moon eclipse on April the 19th and 20th in Aries. Now there's a really interesting and very fast shift of energy between Aries and Taurus. The void of course period, this is the space in between the two signs when the moon literally passes from one sign to another. There's like a little space in between. Sometimes it's quite a long space, and I'll be highlighting some of those as I go through this moon month. It's actually very, very fast from Aries into Taurus, which is a really interesting energetic to apply to our new moon wishes and intentions. Now I'm bringing the times up on your screen now so that you can see them wherever you are in the world. When we set our wishes and intentions, ideally we want to set them from the point when the sun and the moon come together and for the 8 hours afterwards. During this 8-hour period, the moon will pass very quickly from Aries into Taurus. This means there's an energetic of kind of passion and ideas being moved into a place where we can solidly make them real. So very, very, very interesting energy. This is also a new moon eclipse. So this is such a powerful time. There's a real karmic kind of energy around as well. So this is a new moon where we could really say, what are the changes that you wish to see in the world? Dream big and infuse your wishes with your highest possible vision for the future, and then set intentions that will commit you personally to doing and being your absolute personal best. Literally invite the universe to give you its backing. Invite the universe to support you to live in alignment with your highest dreams, your highest values. Put them out there and then sit back and expect to be turbocharged into your future. It's an amazing energy. It really, really is. So if you are into setting wishes and intentions, or if you're not, in fact, I would say this is a really powerful time to begin. And if you are, then really get yourself focused, because the energy is primed to move things forwards. The moon then moves into her waxing crescent moon phase, and this runs from April the 21st through to the 26th, and the moon is going to pass through Taurus, Gemini and into Cancer. When she then gets to the first quarter, the moon, she'll be in Leo. Now, overall, there is a really super nice flow of energy. It's pretty steady during this moon phase. And because she's getting bigger, the energy is really there to kind of get a hold and steadily invest in our manifestations, our intentions and our wishes that we have literally put out into the universe at that point of the new moon. Interestingly enough, we have 3 quite long periods of the void of course moon. So on the 22nd of April, the moon moves from Taurus into Gemini, and there is a 7-hour window there. On the 24th of April, when the moon moves from Gemini into Cancer, there is a 6-hour void of course period. And on April the 26th to the 27th, as the moon moves into the first quarter position, there's another void of course period of 7 hours as she moves from Cancer into Leo. Now, these void of course periods are interesting. Sometimes they can leave you feeling a bit out at sea, sometimes they can feel very liberating. Given the steady get up and go energy of this overall moon phase, I think we might find them to be really valuable pockets of kind of let's get still and let's regain clarity before we then take further steady action. And then let's meditate, get still again to gain clarity and then take further steady action. I think from my perspective, that's really how I'm intending to use these pockets, these void of course pockets throughout this particular moon phase. We then see a very distinct shift in the energy actually when the moon reaches her first quarter. And a first quarter energy is often about evaluation. The dynamics are very, very powerful in this particular, on this particular day, April 27th to 28th. The moon is in very fiery, bouncy, dynamic, out there, confident Leo. And honestly, the dynamics of this moon are very forthright. There's a very distinct feeling of karmic happenings with potential for meetings and circumstances and situations that could literally show up feeling as if they are guided by fate or destiny. So I think this is a day to kind of be quite sharp, be available to notice any signs, signals, synchronicities, and really listen up, take them seriously. Be conscious, be aware. Although it's a day of potential value in being still, you also kind of want to be ultra aware rather than ultra dreamy, because there are things going on in the dynamics that day that could really give you exactly the information you need in order to either course correct, as our cards were suggesting, or to shift forwards in a particular way. It'd be really interesting to draw the cards in a moment and see what we are shown for every sign. The moon then moves into her waxing gibbous moon phase, and this runs from April the 29th to May the 4th. This is basically where the moon is building to her fullest, and loads of people will experience like an increased intensity in emotions, and this is very common in this phase where we are building up to the full moon, where we can find that things are illuminated and the energy can really feel very intense. Now, bearing in mind, we're also full on in eclipse season, which means things can happen very quickly. As the lunar energy is rising during this moon phase, quite honestly, it is primed for acceleration. So I would say, given that we also have some quite significant periods of the void of course moon, where she's in between the signs, I would say planning and timetabling are going to help you to use the lunar influence at its absolute best. And in fact, I would, if you've got a pen and paper handy, I would make a note of these void of course periods, because a void of course period can feel absolutely amazing if you want to kind of jump on the energy and really move forwards. But if you're uncertain about something and you're feeling wobbly, you may actually need to give yourself an anchor point. So the moon is going to pass during this phase through Leo, Virgo and into Libra. And it's very, very dynamic. So on the 29th of April, we're going to see an 8-hour void of course period when the moon moves between Leo and Virgo. Between the 1st of May and the 2nd of May, as she moves from Virgo into Libra, we have a 6-hour period. And then on the 4th, just as we are heading for the full moon, this is a full moon eclipse in Scorpio, as the moon moves from Libra into Scorpio, we have a 5-hour period. Now, this Scorpio full moon is going to really be very dynamic, and you might find yourself doing quite a big emotional deep dive. So I'll talk about that in just a moment and bring up the timings, but just be very thoughtful that there is this void of course period before we actually get to that full moon. So on May the 5th and 6th, depending on where you are on our beautiful planet, we have a full moon eclipse in Scorpio. Now, this is very dynamic, and of course the full moon in Scorpio will always tend to illuminate the shadows. It invites us to dive deep and look at ourselves and our situations with real honesty, and this full moon is no exception. With the added influence of the eclipse, which is said to create almost like an energetic portal or an energetic rift that allows us to connect with our purpose and our calling within this present lifetime, plus a very, very powerful connection with Uranus, who's also known as the Great Awakener. I always associate the energy of Uranus with the card of the Tower. This really does look to be an interesting time of light bulb moments and sudden opportunities. So seriously, fasten your seatbelt and enjoy the ride. But be aware that if there is anything that is not in balance in your life, this may be a time when you're going to be shown it with full force. So let me bring up the timings onto the screen so you can see where the exact sort of pinnacle of energy is going to be focused in your area of the globe. Now, just as we have entered this full moon on the 4th of May with a 5-hour period, a 5-hour void of course period, where the moon moved from Libra into Scorpio, on the 6th of May we have another 6-hour void of course period as the moon moves from Scorpio into Sagittarius. Now, also bearing in mind that we have a Mercury in retrograde situation going on. Mercury in retrograde is a time when we often see hiccups, we often see delays, we often see interruptions. Sometimes things come back into our lives from the past that are either there to help us to move forwards now or to resolve things from the past sometimes as well. So this is a really phenomenally interesting collaboration and combination of energy because of the eclipse portal as well. Having a Mercury in retrograde alongside the eclipse energy is going to be, I think, incredibly interesting in terms of what we might be shown, what might be revealed to us in order to actually move something forwards. If you think of Scorpio as being ruled by Pluto, and Pluto is the planet of rebirth, it really suggests that there is opportunity to potentially experience some pretty profound insights and revelations. From May the 7th to the 11th, the moon then enters her waning gibbous moon phase. So she's actually beginning to diminish. Her energy is starting to slow down, though there is still a lot of momentum around. I always feel it's kind of like if you've got up to speed by the full moon. If you imagine driving on a motorway, you've got up to full speed, you're now coasting. Okay, so the influence here is flowing well, you know, the lunar energy is flowing well, and there is a definite emphasis in the planetary alignments of moving ahead through conscious, heightened awareness. So whatever you were shown at the full moon, you might now find that you are continuing to receive signs, signals and synchronicities to point the way and to keep you going. Even with Mercury in retrograde, you may find that opportunities are still arriving. It's just that they may arrive in unexpected ways, and even a delay or an interruption may ultimately prove to be really helpful to you and bring you just the information you need to move steadily forwards, even if it's not immediately obvious. And during this moon phase, there are no really long void of course periods, which is fascinating because it feels like there's a kind of contradiction in energy. On the one hand, the lunar energy feels pretty uninterrupted, so we might expect to see a steady flow of progress. On the other hand, we have the Mercury retrograde energy, which can often slow us up or cause interruptions and delays. I think this really interesting combination is potentially going to bring us a very heightened level of awareness of things that are significant that we need to know in order to progress. So I'm really looking out for this, and I'm very curious to see how it affects us individually. Do come back, Super Souls, and make comments as the month progresses. I would love to hear how your month is moving forwards, what kind of things you're shown. You know, it's fascinating for us to touch base and really learn from our actual real experiences, and indeed to share those. On May the 12th, the moon will reach her last quarter in Aquarius. Now, we often see around the last quarter a kind of a shift in the energy where we move from being fully aware and of the external circumstances in our lives to kind of recognizing what's taking place internally. Now, this last quarter moon and the dynamics around it, you may find that you are really hearing and looking at the world through your heart rather than your mind. The energy at this time may even be calling you to change your perspective about some aspect of your world, and also bringing you the knowledge to empower you to become the creator of any changes that you genuinely wish to see or that you need to instigate. So I would say expect the unexpected. Sit back, observe, and be prepared to journey inwards in response to anything that is happening in your external world at this time. The moon then enters her final phase of this moon month. This is the balsamic moon, or the waning crescent moon. This is from May the 13th to the 18th, and she will pass through Pisces, Aries, and into Taurus. On the 15th of May, as she moves from Pisces into Aries, there is a 5-hour void of course period. I think this might be quite dreamy. The start of this moon phase overall is feeling very karmic and as if it is going to be full of potential openings. This is interesting because the moon is diminishing, her energy is slowing down. It's a very creative, inward thinking kind of moon phase, really. And there's a real flavour of fate and destiny around, and in the most positive way. It really does feel like one of those periods when things can just fall into place, and as if the universe has your back. So I would say whether things are moving forwards in a very productive way or whether they are just moving forwards in a dreamy, creative way, kind of go with the flow and allow yourself to receive whatever influences are coming, because it really does feel as though we're going to be steered in the direction that is purposeful and most valuable for us each. The lunar energy does slightly intensify as we move towards the new moon. So on the 17th and 18th, try and be anchored. Take small steps rather than big ones. Don't try and rush ahead. This is a time when slow and steady will win the race. It's really a time, I would say, practice the art of allowing and just let the universe steer you. It is as if this is one of those times when rather than you taking charge, the universe is going to take charge, be at the helm of your ship, and you will be guided in whatever direction you are meant to go in. So Moon Magic Super Souls, I hope you have enjoyed that moon update and that information, and particularly those big periods of void of course moons, will be helpful to you in navigating the month ahead. Now, in terms of the moon month, we've looked at the incoming energy. Let's now look at these cards, because this is ultimately the kind of layout, the flow of energy that we're already shown in the cards for this month. And then, so we'll look at these specifically, and then we will draw cards for every zodiac sign. But as a baseline energy that is affecting all of us, April into May, the choices and decisions card with signals is really interesting, because the rune of signals is a messenger rune. And the spiritual warrior is really about the calling of your soul. We're in eclipse season. It means that we might be shown information that can assist us in making the right choices and decisions for our future, particularly our future that aligns with literally our calling, our purpose, a higher vision. There's massive opportunity here to really find direction. It may, of course, mean that we have to make some adjustments. Now, the rune of possessions, Fehu, is a rune that speaks of fulfillment, of ambitions satisfied, but it also asks us to be vigilant, to be conscious, to be aware. So there's a really interesting flow of energy during this moon month, during eclipse season, where we are invited to notice, observe, be shown things that allow us and help us and guide us to make the choices and decisions that will align our personal orientation with a much bigger picture, with our calling, our purpose, and that the energy of the universe is really going to kind of support this. There's potential for review. I find the whole Mercury retrograde combination of Mercury in retrograde along with eclipse season just fascinating. I know I've just spoken about it in the moon month, but if you think about our cards of course correct and intention, sitting with the rune of fertility, this is Inga's. This indicates a new pathway, new beginnings, new opportunities, massive potential. And the rune of harvest is a rune of beneficial outcomes, not necessarily immediately seeing the results or the harvest, but it is as if during this moon month we can make adjustments and be shown what we need to see to really set a course for the future, but a future that is really going to be ultimately beneficial, big, ambitious, purposeful, kind of magnificent is the energy I want to say. And if there are any delays through the Mercury retrograde energy, or if anything is coming back into our lives, it's coming back so that we can review. Or if there is a delay, it's because we need to see something that will help us to make an adjustment in either our thinking or our doing, or even in some aspect of our ambition or our project or our desires. So I think this is going to be a really, really interesting and very dynamic month, whereby we can be we can move certain things forwards, we can invest in certain things, we can be shown exactly what we need to see. I think it's possibly going to be a balance of both stillness and productivity, but the kind of stillness that's really going to fuel our productivity to the absolute max. So, beautiful souls, thank you so much for being here with me, and let's move forwards and draw cards for every single zodiac sign. Welcome Aries, thank you for joining me. As this is eclipse season, we are going to draw an alchemy card and see what we are shown. May we kindly ask for information for Aries, please. Okay, so you have rotation. How interesting. And look at this beautiful spider. I love that the colours are aligning perfectly with the colours in the choices and decisions card. Now this is suggesting to me, Aries, that you are potentially going to be making or have the opportunity to make some significant choices and decisions during this moon month. May we have another card, please, for Aries? Okay, I am going to be actually going with that one underneath. We have, how interesting, look at the colours again for you Aries. Conjunction, how fascinating. I'm going to place these cards, actually just place them here. That is good for you, and I'm going to draw some runes for you as well. Your runes, you have the rune of strength, you have the rune of the self, you have the rune of protection, you have the rune of signals, how interesting, and you have the rune of Hagelas. This is the rune actually of disruption. How interesting. Okay, so beautiful Aries. So beautiful Aries. Lovely Aries, I think you're going to be making some significant choices and decisions. And it is, I almost feel like there'll be a little bit of tension at some point or at certain points during your moon month. Now, I'm not seeing that tension as a challenge in a negative way. I'm seeing it as a tension in terms of giving you opportunity and choices to bring your world into a space of greater balance, into a space of greater harmony. Okay, for you to really become much more conscious in what you are manifesting. I'm kind of seeing relationship coming into this conjunction card, the conjunctio. This is about harmony in relationships. It's about finding, I feel, with the rune of the self. If you look at the rune of the self is actually the rune of joy that looks like a P, split down the middle and opened up like this. I sort of feel like this is about finding your other half, okay? I think, Aries, for some of you, there is something about finding the perfect balance. It could be the perfect work-life balance that you're needing to address, course correct. It could be within relationship that there is disruption and you are needing to kind of wake up and address some aspect of relationship that isn't working. You either need to invest in it more or maybe you need to walk away from it. But I feel like you have the strength, the courage, the dedication, the clarity actually being brought to you this month to make choices and decisions that really are, I'm going to say purposeful, but purposeful in terms of your fundamental quality of life. This really is connecting to balance, harmony. Looking at the two sides, the wings of this butterfly are beautifully, perfectly aligned. We've got this rainbow energy around you. I feel like something of really significant joy could come into your life, and it's almost as though you have the courage to seize it. Okay, Aries. Now, that might seem an interesting thing to say because most of us want joy, we want happiness in our lives, beautiful Aries, but actually many people stay in the safe zone. Many people remain in a safe zone. They don't step into that space of joy. It's almost like it's too hot to handle. That's what's coming through for you, Aries. Something that's too hot to handle. And it's kind of like you have those choices, and I almost feel like maybe circumstances align, might be a little bit disrupting, to kind of point you in that direction. So, may we have information for lovely Aries, please? Okay, I'm just going to check the card at the base as well. Queen of Pentacles. Look at that. Aries. I feel this is a really fruitful month for you. Okay, I'm going to pop that up here. Aries, this is a very fruitful moon month. In a way, why wouldn't it be? It's an Aries moon. It's the second Aries moon, and it's an Aries moon eclipse. But then we spring into earthy Taurus, where we can make it real. We can start to spin that web. What are we shown here? Lovely, lovely Aries. How fascinating. So we have the Five of Cups sitting here. We have the Page of Wands. How interesting. We have the Ace of Pentacles and we have the Four of Pentacles in reverse. Okay. I'm going to leave these cards in reverse. Now, those of you that follow my readings, you'll know I don't generally read cards in reverse, but I'm kind of going through a phase where I think I am at the moment. Perhaps it's just the eclipse energy. You're leaving something behind. You're making a really clear choice not to remain with something. It's like you've had a dream, something that you've held. There's something that you have held sacred, Aries. And I sort of feel like, what I feel like is that you can be offered something. I mean, look at the way these hands are showing this offer, this opportunity. I think the thing is, though, that something's arriving. Eclipse season, stuff happens quickly. So whatever it is for you, whatever that dream, whatever that spark, whatever that's something that you have really kept alive in your heart, that you really, really wanted, I think it has the potential to actually arrive. But I think it's going to turn your world upside down, literally spin you on your axis. And honestly, I think you won't want to, gosh, what's the energy here? It's this push-pull energy that I was experiencing just in these cards alone. I think on the one hand, you will be jumping for joy, spinning like a spinning top. On the other hand, I think there'll be a part of you that goes, whoa, can I really handle this? And another part of you that says, look, we cannot cling to the past. We've got to let go. We've got to embrace this. We deserve this. I feel like there's a little bit of umming and ahhing, toing and froing. But ultimately, I think what will happen is, this is what I meant by the tension. I think Aries, there'll be a tension. And within that tension, you will know what you have to do. It's like the way will be shown. Even though it's going to feel like it's turning your world on its head, I don't think it means you're going to let go of everything you've ever known kind of thing. You know, we've got course correct rather than a complete change of direction. But it's just that it's something quite big arriving, that it's like it fills a half of your world. You know, if you've been dedicated to one pathway that you love and you enjoy, suddenly your pathways are split open. There's an opportunity for the other half of life to be filled. And because of that, it turns everything upside down. So beautiful Aries. I am going to now draw loads more cards for the extended readings in Patreon, but here on YouTube, Super Souls, I just want to wish you an amazing month. I think what we'll do in the extended readings is actually draw a ton more cards to get clarity, A, as to what this is actually about, but also B, to kind of find out what's the push-pull, what's the reticence about here, what's going on here that is causing you to sort of, because I feel like you want it, but you don't. In fact, I feel like you really want it. And yet somehow, gosh, there's something that's slightly, we've got the Ace of Pentacles in reverse, something that's holding you back. So I'm curious, because everything is suggesting that you can achieve this, you can have this. I'm curious as to why. What is it that's holding you back? What is it that makes you feel as though having this amazing dream is a challenge in some way? I'm very curious. But Aries, here on YouTube, this is your reading. I really can see the positive outcome here. This may be enough information for you, but if you would like to join me on Patreon for the extended readings, I think that's the area that we're really going to be exploring here. What is it that's coming into your world in more detail, really? I am seeing this push-pull of energy for you here, Aries, and what I also do see, though, is a sense of you making the decision that's right for you and knowing that you do so by the end of this month. Okay, it's just that maybe there's some stepping stones to pass and maybe some levels of awareness to achieve as you navigate this. But one way or the other, I do feel like something arrives to turn your world upside down. Yeah, and there's a really clear advice and guidance about not, you know, you're ready to let go of something that has previously got in the way of you having this, however this is, or of you being able to spin this web, or to make the choices and the decisions that are really aligning you with the calling of your soul, of what's right for you. So beautiful Aries, thank you for joining me here on YouTube, and if you would like to join me in the extended readings on Patreon, you are very welcome. But I am wishing you an amazing moon month. This is dynamic, powerful, and honestly, I'm seeing you get to where you need to be, truly. Hey, beautiful Taurus, let us see what is happening for you during this moon month. We're going to use these alchemy cards, first of all, because I think this is two. Yes, it is. Because, well, eclipse season is such a time of potential powerful change. So you have the card of gold, and this is Aurum, and you have Stibus Antimony. Now I'm going to place those over here. Look at that white wolf energy around you. This is really interesting. Okay, and we have Venus in reverse here. How fascinating. Okay, let's draw some runes for you as well. May we please ask for information for Taurus. Okay, so you have Fehu, right, sorry, this is not Fehu. This is signs, signals. This is Anzus. So coming up again, signals, signs, synchronicities. We then have the rune of gateway. Now this is suggesting, Taurus, that you are going to need to ponder something, okay? Oh, I've just noticed that I took my candle out and I've not put another one back in. I'm just going to press the pause button and go and literally pick one up and light that for you. There, we have the candle lit. I actually feel this is really significant. Whenever anything happens in a reading, you know, in between Aries and Taurus, just as I was finishing Aries, the candle went out. I kind of went to get some other candles to bring them into this room, literally started the reading and kind of forgot. I feel like this is telling us something, beautiful Taurus. It's like these two cards here. And gateway, the gateway. I think during this moon month, you're going to be shown something that is going to bring you great clarity as to what you have to do about something, okay? We have the rune of breakthrough here as well. So we've got the signs, the signals, the synchronicities. We've got the rune of gateway, we have breakthrough, and then we have the rune of the spiritual warrior. Now these two cards are really fascinating. Because Taurus, this antimony, this wolf, is this card is speaking about something that is, it's like, in a way, there's a shadow aspect to this card. Hence Venus in, you know, reverse here. There's a kind of shadow aspect. There's this beautiful symbol of Neptune sitting here. Isn't it interesting how my mind is feeling a little frazzled, which is really fascinating because I'm not in a frazzled zone, okay? I forgot to do this. There's something that is on your mind, actually, Taurus, that you need to see it with clarity, okay? You're going to need to press the pause button and get still and really become acutely aware of what is actually going on, okay? Because there's an opportunity around you. I think there's going to be this light bulb moment where you suddenly see something with absolute clarity, but you need to get still in order to do it. You could just be carrying on in your kind of everyday world, cracking on with life, beautiful Taurus, and why wouldn't you? But I just think this moon month, this eclipse energy, I think you're going to be, something's going to become apparent to you in a really clear way, and it will cause you to make a very clear decision about something, okay? And the outcome is, it's a very creative outcome. It's a very creative outcome that is potentially going to move something forwards, which will bring you prosperity, happiness, a life of greater fulfillment. But it's as if something is kind of lurking in the shadows. I think there's something already around you that either hasn't quite come to light, or you've got a gut feeling about something, but it hasn't really become clear enough to you. It could be that sort of yearning where you kind of have an inclination to want to do something, but it hasn't really quite become clear as to how you might take the step to make that possible. And it really needs to be brought out into the open and given your creative input here. Let's draw cards, more cards for Taurus. May we please have more information for lovely Taurus. What is happening in this moon month for our lovely Taurus? I definitely felt that card. That really was speaking to me, as is that one, and as is that one there. And I'm also actually seeing that card. How interesting. Gosh, Taurus. Actually, before I draw more, let me look at the one at the root. Okay, Two of Cups, and it's in reverse. Okay, how interesting. Two of Cups in the reverse position. What is it you're needing to see? Or what is it that comes to light? What is it you're needing to evaluate? Okay, Knight of Cups, how interesting. We have the Chariot. We have the card of Strength and we have the card of the Sun. How very interesting, beautiful Taurus. Okay, there seems to be an awful lot of kind of, well, I say that because I've only done Aries so far, but Aries had an emphasis on a relational connection as well. I mean, it wasn't clear that it was definitely love. It could have been a business partnership. It could have been, but it was a connection with someone. Now with you guys, there's something quite interesting that you need to see in relation to somebody. Someone who could appear, or a circumstance, it may not be a person, but there is a situation, a connection around you, and you need to see with clarity who they really are before proceeding. You know, slow it down. Don't rush into this, okay? I feel like this is this shadow side. What is this about, lovely Taurus? The Strength, the Lion and the Lamb and the Sun. We're seeing a really positive, creative outcome to something. If this is a creative venture, like if there's something you're working on, don't be despondent if you're working on a project or you're trying to negotiate a contract and it doesn't initially run smoothly or feel as if it's going your way. Don't lose sight of your end dream. If something is interrupted or disrupted during this moon time, there is real purpose to it, Taurus, because there's something else you need to see. I think for some of you, there's a better option, okay? You know, I almost want to say all that glitters is not gold. I feel like you could be offered something. You could be offered, I mean, for example, if you were moving house, you might be offered something and you think, oh, that's okay, I'll go with that one. There's something better. You need to slow it down. Don't assume that the first offer is the best one. If somebody offers you something, if there's some negotiation, don't assume that the first deal that's put on the table will be the final one. You need to slow something down. The breakthrough will come, the clarity will come to you, Taurus, and the outcome will be basically better than you thought it would be, okay? So if somebody offers you something or you meet someone and you suddenly think, well, this isn't quite as good as it appears to be, hold out for more. Hold your own in something. Be really clear about your position here. Kind of, I almost want to say, Taurus, don't back down and yet don't try to push it through either. This is a time to sort of say no to something if it's not feeling right, and then wait for them to come back with a better offer, okay? Yeah, I literally feel like don't accept the first offer. All that glitters is not gold. There's something better coming. So within this moon month, beautiful Taurus, we are seeing something very lovely, very creative, very sparky, very passionate, arriving in your world. I feel like you are empowered by the end of this moon month, significantly empowered, almost liberated from something. But there's a process to go through. Don't let it get you down. Don't let the process get you down. If something that you thought was going to be good doesn't come through, just trust that something better is coming. Yeah, literally, it's a really clear message for you, Taurus. You know, this is part of the adjustment for you and the fertility. It's about actually, you know, tick over, keep going, don't stop, but really pay attention to the detail, pay attention to the signals, pay attention to the signs. And literally, if something isn't running smoothly, it's because it's not meant to. It's like a sign that something isn't going to work out and therefore it isn't worthy of further investment, because something better is coming along. You are going to get a really favourable outcome with the something that you are wanting. You're going to strike gold, you know, as it were. It's kind of, I feel like if I was sending you out prospecting, for gold, it's kind of like, and you suddenly find a teeny little, you catch a glimpse of some gold in a stream bed, and you think, oh, I'll put my claim there. Don't. You know, it's like that's fool's gold. You could be drawn into something. You're better off waiting a little bit further along the line, because if you walk a little bit further along, a little bit further upstream, up the mountain, you're going to find a space where there's a real gold nugget, and that's where you want to stake your claim. So there's something here about being cautious with your paying attention to the signs, listening to your gut feeling. Things are going to progress, and you are going to get an outcome of something that you really want, but it's going to be better than the first offer, basically. That's what we're seeing in your moon month so far, Taurus. So, beautiful souls, thank you so much for joining me here on YouTube. I'm going to, I think, in the extended readings, draw a load more cards about kind of what this primary offer looks like. What is it about? And also then, but what's the better offer about? And how might you see and read those signs and those signals? You know, how are you going to get to the gold? And also, how do you navigate maybe some feelings of despondency if something isn't feeling as though it's running really smoothly or to plan? What your reading is actually saying, Taurus, is that the not running smoothly has real purpose to it. So, you know, don't be fazed by it. But in the extended readings, you're welcome to join me on Patreon for those. We'll look in more depth, I think, Taurus, at kind of what's going on, how to navigate the underlying feelings if something isn't feeling as though it's progressing, and also what the kind of final outcome of this really is about. And we'll see if we can get more information and more guidance. That's really, I think, where we're going to be going, because we do see the breakthrough rune and we see the warrior rune, clear direction. So we will, clear intentions. So we will draw more cards. Thank you for joining me here on YouTube, and for those of you who are already on Patreon, thank you for being there as well. Tons and tons of love. Hey, lovely Gemini, let's find out what's happening for you during the eclipse season and this next moon month. I'm seeing this card, and actually I also want to check in and see what is on the reverse. We have the card of Jupiter. How exciting. Wow, look at this. Okay, so we have Jupiter, we have winter. Okay. These are very interesting cards for you, lovely Jupiter, lovely Gemini. Wow. Right, okay, let us see. Jupiter, Gemini, Jupiter. That feels very lucky. What is coming to you? Okay, let's look at some runes for you as well. How interesting that Anzus, the rune of signals, keeps coming out. So this is really highlighting how relevant this energy is of signs, synchronicities, stuff being shown to us during the eclipse season. Now we have the rune Rado of journey, which would suggest sometimes travel, but also journeying within to see what you need to almost like whatever obstacles from within need to be removed in order for you to then progress, to move forwards, to expand. We have the rune of protection. This is about right action, doing the right thing. We have the rune of wholeness, Suelu, and we have the rune of ice. How interesting that we end with the rune of ice, and we have, this is standstill, and we have the card of winter. I sort of feel, Gemini, as if something that you start to see moving forwards may actually arrive at a point where it then stops. Now, if that is the case, as we were speaking about earlier, in terms of the Mercury retrograde energy and the eclipse energy, there will be purpose. You'll need to be seeing something. I feel like this is like a North Star here. If something stops, it's because you need to see something. So just when you thought something was moving forwards, almost like showing prosperity, expanding in the direction, going in the direction that you thought you wanted it to, okay, suddenly I feel like that you might find there is an abrupt halt or a series of interruptions. Now, Gemini, if that happens, it's because you need to see something else. There's something else. We've got a North Star and a North Star here. You're being guided. Let's draw some cards as well and see what we are shown for lovely Gemini. May we ask for information for Gemini for this coming moon month? What are we being shown? Okay, I'm just going to see the card on the bottom. We have Four of Swords and it's showing up in the reverse position. Okay, I think you're going to need to retreat, as in, I don't mean retreat as in run away, but retreat as in stop in order to see something, or to recoup, regather. It might be that you're trying to move something forwards too quickly. You know, Gemini, when something is just moving. And to be fair, the energy is very much about forward motion during both April and moving into May. But we have this Mercury retrograde kind of contradiction going on, which means that we might see, on the one hand, things seem to be really expanding. This is amazing. This is wonderful. On the other hand, we're going to need to press the pause button along the way in order to make sure that we're getting things kind of right action. And I feel that you may be called to slow down, actually, to see some things along the way, to adjust some things. So what do we have here? Yes, we've got the Two of Wands in reverse. We've got the Three of Cups in reverse. We then have the Knight of Swords moving forwards, and then we have the King of Wands. Okay, yeah, I think the overall energy is really interesting for you guys, actually, Gemini. I think that it's going to be quite a mixture during this moon month, I think, for you guys, of being both forward motion, but also there's a need to pause, to reflect, to observe, to take into account the perspectives of other people. There may be some collaboration needed rather than kind of, you know, doing it your way. There may be some collaboration needed. Gemini, you're very good usually at seeing things from both sides of the story, as it were. Sometimes, though, seeing it from both sides of the story can sometimes almost add confusion and make it harder to know which way to go. I feel for you guys, with the way the runes are showing up, with Suelo, the rune of wholeness, it's really interesting because it kind of suggests there's only one way to go. And the rune of protection speaks of right action. There's only one pathway to follow, but it may not immediately be clear to you. Interestingly enough, I think, beautiful Gemini, that the way will be made very, very clear to you, but rather than it being made clear to you through a doorway being opened, it's more likely to be made clear to you through a doorway being closed. Okay, so a bit like if you can imagine walking down a corridor and you think that the room you're going to is actually the first door on the left, and you're walking down the corridor and you get there and the door isn't open, and you realise, well, actually then it wasn't the first door on the left that I needed to take. I'll carry on walking because you can see another door further down the way that's open. So it's kind of not being too fixed in what you thought you were going to do. The rune of journey, removing obstacles one by one so that the way becomes clear. I think, beautiful Geminis, the pace of your moon month will actually be quite expansive, which is exciting. I actually also think it's loaded with potential. It's just that I don't think it's going to be in quite the shape or the form that you thought it would be. And I do think there will be points when you can move forwards. Ultimately, I think there is only one doorway to go through for you guys. And once you see it, you'll know it. But I don't think it's the one that you think. Okay, that's what we seem to be being shown here. Now, some of you will understand something of what that's about. Some of you won't yet be clear about it. It's going to be shown along the way. But yeah, there's some connection with people involved here as well, with the Three of Cups in reverse. It may be that somebody has given you some information that you thought would be really, really helpful, a collaboration potentially, and then it turns out again that wasn't the right doorway to walk through. They weren't the right people to be working with. You thought they were, but it turns out they weren't. So we're seeing some adjusting and some realigning, but I think your North Star will be shown to you, actually. Yes, beautiful Geminis, whatever clarity you need, it will come to you. And just because something that you thought was working sort of comes to a halt, don't worry about it. There's a better, let's say a better way. I mean, that came out in the Taurus reading, but in a very different way. But yeah, there's a realigning, a reorientation taking place here for you. And you will become very, very clear. The way will be shown. But as I said, it's interesting. I feel like the way will be shown to you by showing you what isn't right rather than what is. So don't let it get you down. You know, really pay attention and listen up to that. You know, retreat. You know, come away from it and ponder it. You know, the Four of Swords is always a card that recommends, you know, a time of contemplation and meditation. So beautiful Geminis, thank you so much for joining me here on YouTube. I think what we'll do in the extended readings on Patreon, I think what we're going to do is ask for greater clarity around kind of this point of halt, really, because we're seeing something that you thought was working stop, almost stopped in its tracks. So I think we'll kind of check in on that, see what that's about. You know, how is this connecting into other people here? And we'll also ask for more information about the clarity of direction. You know, what is the North Star? Where should our beautiful Geminis be channeling their energy as they review and reflect, as they remove obstacles? How is this actually going to move forwards? And what are we going to see in terms of the emergence into this space of the King of Wands, where you really are, you know, looking potentially very, very solid in something, very clear, very empowered. So we'll kind of check out that information, I think, in the extended readings. Super Geminis, you are welcome to join me over on Patreon if you wish. If not, I hope that the information given so far for you is really, really super helpful to you. You may want to bookmark the page, because if you do find yourself coming to a halt, it's sometimes useful just to come back and re-anchor yourself in a reading, just to sort of remind yourself that we knew this was going to happen, and that there is a purpose to it, and that we are seeing a positive outcome coming through here. Beautiful Geminis, tons and tons of love. Let's move to Cancer. Hey beautiful Cancer, welcome to your reading. Let's see what we are shown for this moon month for beautiful Cancer. I'm actually going to take the card that is seen just here. Okay, let us have a look at your first two cards, beautiful Cancer. So you have Venus, oh wow, 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 and Mystical Sister. Oh my goodness me, these are beautifully vibrant cards for you, beautiful, beautiful Cancer. Okay, let's draw some runes for you as well, and then we'll draw some tarot cards too, but let's have a look at the runes for you first of all. Gosh, I feel like you get very supported here in some way, shape or form, lovely Cancer. Something, we have the rune of ice, stand still, first of all. We have the rune of joy. Yeah, so something that has been stuck, not moving forwards. Yeah, it feels like it bursts into life here. We have the rune of fertility, and we have the rune of the spiritual warrior as well. Yeah. Something that's been going on in your world, it's already going on, has basically someone gives you a helping hand, beautiful Cancer. Someone lends a hand, and it means that something can move forwards. It means that something can emerge, that something can significantly open up. This is really delightful, Cancer. I feel that something that has felt stuck or at a standstill or not moving forwards, or you didn't feel you could tackle it yourself, it's like someone just rocks up and gives you just the support you need to move it forwards. And we just see such a beautiful positive outcome here with Venus. Let's ask for more information, please, for this moon month for our beautiful Cancer. May we have more information, please, for our lovely, lovely Cancer. Okay, I feel like these cards are all wanting to come out, so I'm going to take them. We will use them. My beautiful, beautiful Cancers. What are we shown? So we have the card of Strength, first of all. Okay, so this is about you having to be strong over something. And whatever it is that's stuck, whatever it is that's lingering, I feel in a way I wouldn't say your strength is waning. That's not really the right word, but I feel like basically you need some help with this. There's a part of you that's quite vulnerable. You need someone to step up and be strong for you. And I think they do. We have the Six of Swords. So we're seeing you being led through something that is feeling quite emotionally difficult here. We have the Eight of Pentacles in reverse. We have the Fool in reverse. We have the Five of Pentacles also in reverse, and we have the Hierophant. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so this is going to be really interesting. I've got to say this, Cancer. Don't be stubborn about receiving help. Okay? Don't be stubborn about receiving help, because I think that somebody is going to come in and really, really be tremendously helpful to you and literally assist you with exactly what you need to create exactly the outcome that is right for you. I do feel that there's something about you that's a little bit torn here. You know, something that is... you kind of know which way to go, or you know what you ought to be doing, but maybe there's another direction, maybe there's more than one direction you can go in, and perhaps it's that indecisiveness that is causing the stuckness, or you may have more than one person, more than one choice, more than one opinion being voiced to you. But the outcome of this month, my beautiful Cancers, is that it gets unstuck, which is lovely. Curiously enough, you're a part of the getting unstuck here. You need to allow yourself to receive the help, really. With the Hierophant in reverse, and with the Five of Pentacles here and the Fool, I feel there's a resistance to being able to, you know what you want, Eight of Pentacles, you know what outcome you want, and yet you're resistant to allowing yourself to receive it. Maybe there is a block, an obstacle in the way. Perhaps it's not exactly as you would like it to be. Yeah. It may be that you're overthinking it and you're over worrying it as well, in all honesty. I think there might be some overthinking going on here. I mean, you guys are very, very sensitive souls. But it's curious because I feel like the key is above you. You know, the key is literally, there's something sitting above you, around you. The answer is sort of like hanging there. It's kind of almost sort of quite obvious, and yet if you're over worrying about it, you may not really see it. Whatever the outcome, you're going to be carried across the gap by the wings of heaven. You're going to reach that place of joy, the new dawn. Now, there's going to be some crossing of the T's, the dotting of the I's in the process, but you're going to get help with that. Yeah, very, very interesting. With the flow of energy, I actually do think you will achieve the right outcome. But I would say, Cancer, and you're going to achieve it with help. There's no question that somebody is coming in to give you the helping hand, exactly what you need. I think that you've got yourself into a bit of a worrying state over this. You've started to worry excessively. You've started to be really concerned about which choice to make or which way to go. I think it's going to be, you'll be guided through it, okay? Because in a way, the choices will be kind of apparent to you. In many ways, the choices are, I think the choices are already available, or the pathway is already available to you. But I think because it's not exactly the path that you thought you were going to take, I think it's causing you to feel a little bit more, yeah, a little bit more anxious, because I think you're going to take a different route, okay, to the one that you thought you would. Now, you're going to get help here. You're going to be supported. And with the rune of the spiritual warrior, this is about discernment. So it means we're making very clear choices, very clear rational choices based on, you know, right action and the right information. And with the Hierophant, actually, I think there is a really clear direction to go in. However, I think you're worrying about it. And because it's something has happened to cause you to be on a slightly different path to the one that you thought you would be on. And it's left you feeling quite vulnerable. But actually, it kind of is the right way to go. This reading is saying kind of don't cling to this. Ideally, you know, we want to be moving forwards. The way is actually above you. It's being shown to you. It's the right way. The Venus is such a beautiful, beautiful card, as is the Sorrow Mystica, mystical sister. You know, the butterfly emerges. The outcome is magic. This is just what you needed. Yeah, we see that sense of calmness return here. Beautiful Cancer, I really feel we're being shown a ton of positivity and exactly the right outcome that is so fruitful and so perfect and so ideal. What I'm seeing is as if there is a little bit of anxiety on the journey along the way. Perhaps you've, as I said, I feel you're leaving something behind. We're seeing here with a suitcase. It's like the road that you thought you were taking isn't the one that you were going to do, or the thing that you thought you were going to buy isn't the exact model that you thought you were going to buy. Something has changed and that's left you feeling wobbly. But honestly, this is guided. You're going to be navigated through this. The key here for you, really beautiful souls, is to pay attention to the detail, cross the T's, dot the I's, and move forwards with a clarity of right action. Then really the door will open. At the moment, I think one of the biggest things is you got yourself into a bit of a worrying place about this. You know, I think you'll know, Cancer, whatever this is already. It's just that there's something that you thought you were going to be following through with in a particular way. The overall energy, you know, which we saw at the very beginning here, if you didn't check out the initial cards, it's really worth going back and doing so. We know that we're going to be shown certain things. Look, fertility. We know we are being shown certain things to help us to course correct, not necessarily to change direction, but to do it in a better way. There's something of, and it lays the foundation for how we move ahead from here. And it is ultimately being guided. There is a bigger picture to this that is really quite important. There's a much bigger picture in hand, and the new beginnings that can build upon this, you know, the outcome that you desire. It will come, and there is a higher guidance being shown. That's the nature of the overall flow of energy this month, beautiful Cancer. Super Souls, I think what we will do in the extended reading is that we will draw cards, I think, and we will be asking, I'm going to be asking more information for you about how the unstuckness happens. You know, what actually emerges here to assist you in being able to, it's almost like to shift the Hierophant from the reverse position to the upright position, so that you can move forwards and accept this support more readily, more easily, because I'm seeing you being moved through something. I'm seeing you achieve exactly the desired result, and yet I'm also seeing worry and anxiety along the way, which is possibly hindering the process. So I think in your extended reading, beautiful Cancers, we'll draw cards to really ask about You know, what's this about? What needs to be done? Who is this coming in to support you? What are the alternatives? What's got you worrying about this? How can we assist you? What guidance can be given to help you to kind of put that worry down and allow yourself to move through something in a way that you can receive this beautiful outcome? So beautiful souls, you are welcome to join me on Patreon if you wish. Thank you so much to all of you who are already there, and everyone here on YouTube. Beautiful Cancers, just thank you so much for joining me for this video. Tons of love to you. Hey lovely Leo, let us ask what is happening for you during this moon month. Okay, I am seeing we have 3 cards here. I'm actually going to use the top and the bottom of those. Now, what is happening for beautiful Leo in this moon month? So first of all, we have Virgin's Milk and then Coagulation. How interesting. Those are 2 very fascinating cards for you. Let's draw some runes as well. Okay. So we have the rune of Strength. That is your first rune. We have the rune of Constraint. We have the rune of Separation, and then we have the rune of Breakthrough. Okay. How interesting. I actually think, beautiful Leos, that I am going to draw some tarot cards before we proceed with your reading. Okay. May we have information, please? What is happening during this extraordinary month of extraordinary energy, really, the eclipse energy for lovely Leo? I'm going to take the card from the bottom as well. We have the card of the moon. I find that really interesting, sitting here and looking at the Virgin's Milk. It feels as if we're really in the same kind of zone here. Okay, let's place that up there. And let's see what these other cards are showing us. Okay, so we have 2 of Pentacles. We have the 5 of Pentacles. We have the 7 of Pentacles in reverse. And the Lovers. Okay, lovely Leos. I actually think you're going to be really contemplating something during this eclipse season, this moon month. Really contemplating something, looking at it in detail. Yeah, I think evaluating, but it's more than evaluating. I actually think, beautiful Leos, there's already something that feels like it's in the balance, okay? And I think most of you will already know what I'm talking about. So this relates to something that is unique to you, but it's in the balance. You're really uncertain about whether you wish to remain or whether you wish to leave. In a way, it's quite clear cut. You're not really sure what choice to make here. The card of the Lovers is essentially a card of choice. Now, this may well connect for some of you to a relationship, but whatever your circumstance or situation, I think you're trying to work out, and probably have been for a little while, toing and froing. Do you stay? Do you go? Do you move away from this? Do you let go of it? Or do you remain and continue to invest? And I do feel you've given it a lot of thought, but I feel like you've given it a lot of thought, but you're none the wiser, if you know what I mean. And there are times when the situation just feels impossible. You know, the Virgin's Milk is like a card of impossibility. It's like, how can this be? This cannot exist. This can't be happening. And yet, I actually think this is the period of time, the moon month, when it basically comes together. And curiously enough, I've got 2 different pathways being shown to me here. I think for some of you, you do actually, it kind of comes together. You decide to stay. You decide to stick with it. You decide to continue to invest with it. And yeah, it kind of comes together. It falls into place. And for others, I'm seeing two distinct pathways. For others, it feels as though this cannot be worked through. It's not possible. It can't be done. And instead of going over and over and over it and thinking I'm still none the wiser, ultimately what I'm seeing here for you, Leo, is that this situation will become clear. I feel you've been really torn, both in the moon. You've done a lot of deep diving around this. You've really, really questioned what's the right thing to do, literally. And maybe some of you, I think, have got very involved in the detail of it, which actually for some of you, you may rise above the detail and decide to invest and approach it differently. For others, actually, it's the attention to the detail that makes you really, really realise that ultimately you've outgrown this situation. It's not going to move on. It's not worth investing. There's better out there. So I'm seeing two very, very distinct pathways, lovely Leo. And what we are seeing during this coming moon month is clarity. But it's not just clarity, it's kind of like it's the making or the breaking moment. It comes together or it comes apart. And if it comes apart, it's because your thoughts and your realizations have come together and you just know that this is not something that you can continue with. You need to separate. But for others, it will be separating from some aspect of what's actually been holding it back. You know, when we start to get a bit, not so much nitpicky, but you know what I mean? When we start to get really critical or self-critical or critical of the other person, or we feel they're criticizing us, or there's a circumstance that doesn't feel quite right, but we're not really attending to it, even though we're going over and over and over it. And we're seeing the shift. We're seeing the shift from impossibility, from something that we sort of almost think this can't quite be happening, to the point where we can do something with it. It's like kind of an awakening, a realization. And because you become fully aware of it, beautiful Leos, the breakthrough moment comes. So if you I actually, quite interestingly enough, in those two different pathways that I'm seeing, I actually think for some of you, if you've been really thinking, I really can't keep going on with whatever the circumstances for you, you'll make a decision to, do you know what, I really think I can. I can do this, and I'm going to commit, and I'm going to get out of my own way, and I'm going to do this. And for others, it's the other way round. It's kind of like, gosh, I really can't continue this. I've been compromising. I keep telling myself I can do this, and I realise I actually can't. I really have to do something. It's a making or breaking scenario. That is what we are seeing for you, beautiful Leos. So my lovely Leos, it does feel as though this has been simmering for a while. And for some of you, quite a while, really. You know, we've had a whole period astrologically where things haven't quite been moving forwards, and now they really are starting to move forwards. And with this particular month, it's as if things are being pushed forwards so that we actually have to make some choices and decisions. And for some, this means some course corrections. Indeed, the course corrections are coming with clarity and intent. Either way, it is very interesting. The reading isn't clear in a one direction or another. I'm seeing one direction for some of you and another direction for another. What I think we'll do, super lovely Leos, is I'm going to conclude the reading here on YouTube. It's very, very clear as to what's going to be happening for you during this moon month. I think in the clarifying and the extended reading that I'm going to be doing on Patreon, I think what we will explore is probably kind of what the actual outcomes are, a bit like doing a yes-no reading, in the same way that we might do a pick-a-card yes-no reading. I think what we might do for you, lovely Leos, is a kind of a yes-no scenario, so that we are looking at both those avenues. So whichever route or pathway you're sitting in with this, we can give you a little bit more information, a little bit more guidance. We can ask for guidance, what the outcome would be, so that we are looking at consolidating and overcoming something to stay, or consolidating your thoughts in order to move on and leave something behind. So I think we'll do those additional routes. I think that's what our extended reading is going to be focusing on. Beautiful Leos, thank you so much for joining me today here on YouTube. You're very welcome to access the extended readings if you wish. Hopefully this has already given you some really valuable information and a validation of the kind of moon month to expect for yourselves, and you know, bookmark the page if you think you might want to come back to it if this information is helpful to you. Tons of love, beautiful Leos, and thank you all of you who are already on Patreon. I really appreciate you being there, and it's super lovely to do those readings for you, and of course also your extra tutorials. Tons of love to you all. Hey beautiful Virgos, let's see what is happening for you during the coming moon month. I am seeing this card. Okay, lovely Virgos, what is happening for you during the next moon month? We have the card of summer, and we also have Uranus. Now Uranus is like the great awakener. Uranus is the bringer of sudden changes. Uranus is the, gosh, Uranus makes things happen. Wow. So this is, I'm seeing something quite big happen. I mean, we have a tree here. We have what looks like an oak tree. Let's draw some runes for you. I feel like something is potentially suddenly going to shift and move forwards here. We have Mars energy as well. What are we shown for lovely Virgo? So we have the rune of openings. Okay, so this is already suggesting there is an opening, a move forwards, a clarity of direction. It's very personal to you. We have the rune of the self. We have the rune of gateway. And we have the rune of harvest. Interesting, because we also have Jira, the rune of harvest, over here as well. This is very interesting, lovely Virgos. I'm seeing something that I think you have already invested in suddenly coming to life, suddenly blossoming, suddenly opening up, suddenly growing, sort of unexpectedly. It's almost as though something comes, yeah, unexpectedly is the right word, and of course that's so in attunement and in alignment with eclipse season. Beautiful, lovely Virgos. I kind of feel there's something that will be unexpectedly creating a phase of very sudden growth, something surging forward, something emerging, coming to fruition in some way, opening a gateway that you hadn't expected, almost as if the timing will be unexpected for you. Let's see what else we are shown, lovely Virgos. What can Virgos expect during this next coming moon month? What are we being shown? I'm actually seeing this card and also those two. There we have more information for our lovely Virgos for this moon month, please. Okay, I'm going to have a little look at the card on the base. Two of Cups, and it's in reverse. This is interesting because it came out for one of the other readings as well, actually. How fascinating. It's in reverse. Two of Cups. How interesting. An unexpected connection, an unexpected collaboration. It's certainly something you didn't see coming. And we have the Two of Pentacles as well. Okay. We then have the Knight of Swords, but in reverse. How interesting. Some of these cards have come out in some of the other readings, but in different ways. We have the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. And then we have the King of Wands, also in reverse. Do you know what, my lovely Virgos? I actually think extremely, literally like a bolt out of the blue, in the most unexpected circumstances, literally the most unexpected circumstances, I think something is going to arrive, help, a collaboration. Yeah, an offer of something. But you know, it so comes at a moment when you're not expecting it. I sort of feel it's slightly going to take you by surprise, which is really, really interesting. It's a very magical window of opportunity. But yeah, like a bolt from the blue, it has great potential. But I think it's almost as if you might even question it, because you would like, well, how could that happen? You know, how could that work out? But actually, I think it is going to work out. Yeah, I do. I think it's something, even if you feel like you can't proceed with it immediately, you know, like one of those, I always feel like it's a little movie playing out here, lovely Virgos. You know, when you could get those kind of movies where there's a chance meeting and then kind of 3 scenes later, or you've passed through, you know, several months of time, and then that amazing meeting, where that chance meeting on the train, somehow you bump into that person just around the corner from where you live. It's got that feel about it, something coming that is actually an absolute gift. It's an absolute blessing, and it feels like it's loaded with potential, and yet I'm not sure you'll move forwards with it yet, but it will have sown a seed for you, and it will have made you almost dwell in a space of possibility. And because of that space of possibility, I sort of energetically feel it becomes a springboard to attract, well, exactly that gift back to you. Yeah, I do. I feel like I'm looking at a movie playing out here, where that chance meeting happens, and you have to catch the very beginning of the film to see this really important piece of information. And then 2/3 of the way through, like magic, up pops this piece of information, or the something that was arriving, or the someone that was arriving, and you realise that it was planted at the beginning of the film, and you so easily could have brushed over it, but it was crucial because it sowed a seed, and it meant that ultimately everything else kind of falls into place, and something really magnificent can grow from it. Yeah, well, I want to say be an observer, and look for the unexpected at unexpected times and in unexpected places. And if something comes along to give you a little bit of a nudge or a wake-up call, and you think, oh no, and you know how we can dismiss something and we can think, oh, it was just a coincidence, that could never happen. Lovely Virgos, please believe that it can. I'm not sure it's going to move forwards immediately. I don't see it coming to fruition in this moon month, but I see the beginnings of it coming. It's like making that connection, sowing that seed, seeing that property and thinking, oh no, that'll never happen, or seeing that car drive down the street, oh, I'd love one of those, and then actually a few months later you end up buying the same car. There's something coming through here. You know, it could be a connection that leads to some aspect of your career that you thought would be unexpected. It's a gift. You're definitely being given a gift. Look at these hands with this pentacle here. And even with the card Uranus, there's this golden nugget here in the palm of this hand. Somebody is giving you something that can come to fruition. No, it's not going to move forwards immediately, but they are giving you something. It's not happening just yet, but my goodness me, it's a gift. And yeah, it is like a bolt out of the blue. How exciting. Virgo, I'm really, really, really excited for you. Be aware of the unexpected. Look for things like coincidences. If something catches your eye, don't dismiss it as unimportant. Dismiss it as, wow, that really stirred something in me. Listen up with yourselves. So my beautiful Virgos, I think what I am going to do, my lovely Virgos, this feels super awesome. In the extended readings, which I will be putting on Patreon, I think where we're going to go with that is to draw cards around helping you to be an observer, because we have the rune of gateway, helping you to be an observer of perhaps what to be looking out for so that you don't miss it. some kind of clue, some kind of offer, even if you can't act on it straight away, so that you can still grasp it. And we'll be asking for more information about that, around those circumstances, and also I think for a little bit of a sneaky peek, maybe with some timings, I don't know, as to what this is actually going to grow into. What is this real potential? We're being shown a vast amount of potential here. So my beautiful Virgos, you are welcome to join me for the full extended readings on Patreon. If not, I hope this is giving you some really, really interesting information to be aware of and to watch out for. And for all of you who are already with me on Patreon, thank you so, so much. It is wonderful to have you over there as part of the Patreon community. You're very, very appreciated. And I hope you are enjoying the big readings, and also I hope you're enjoying your monthly tutorials as well. So beautiful, Virgos. I look forward to seeing you in some other readings, and do come over to Patreon if you would like to tune in with that extended stuff. This just looks so exciting for you. I am utterly thrilled. Lovely Libra, let's find out what is actually happening for you during this coming moon month and the phenomenal energy of the eclipse season. I'm seeing actually that's the card. Okay, beautiful Libras, let's have a look and see what we are shown for you. So we have rotation, and we also have darkening. How interesting. Look at that crow. And the snake of transformation. What are you transcending, lovely Libras, during this extraordinary eclipse season? How very magical. Let's take some runes as well. What do we have for lovely Libras? Okay, so we have the rune of the spiritual warrior. We have the rune of journey. We have the rune of wholeness. There we go. And we have Berkana, the rune of growth. This is a new phase, a new chapter of life, symbolized by the birch tree. I feel like you have... It's like you're manifesting in a very active way, making choices, making decisions. Look at the colours connecting here with this butterfly on this card, lovely Libra, and this kind of energy around you, the web that you are weaving. But then we have this melanosis darkening, as if you... Gosh, what is it that you graduate, transcend, move through, move beyond? What is it that you almost see, lovely Libra? I sort of feel, beautiful Libras, as if you rise in status. Okay, and I'm going to voice that very thoughtfully. I don't mean status in an ego way. I don't mean kind of grandiose status. I mean in a deeply, deeply personal, spiritual way, as if you reach a next level of, I can't even say awareness or awakening. It sort of feels deeper than that. It's almost as though the choices and the decisions you've been making, I mean, look at the colours aligning here. The choices, the decisions that you've been making in life, really conscious decisions to live in a particular way. It's almost as if you reach a spiritual equilibrium, a place within yourself where it's like you're no longer fearful of the shadows. The shadows indeed are a space of friendship for you. I feel like there's almost like a shamanic awakening in some way, shape or form. You're upgraded. But it's through consistent work, it's through consistent active choices, it's through living in a particular way. This is very, very, very magical, beautiful Libra. Let's draw some more cards and see what we're shown, because I kind of wonder how will this then materialize in your actual world. It may be that you don't actually feel that it matters. It's almost as if there's a sense of completeness, of wholeness. You've journeyed to get here. You've made really clear choices and decisions. You've taken right action. You've been very discerning in your life in ways that are upgrading your energy, your resonance. But we do have Berkana, which is a rune of a new phase of life, of new growth. So what is emerging in the lives of lovely Libra? What is actually happening? What's upgrading? What's taking place? Let's take out these 4 cards. Let's also look at what we have on the reverse. 4 of Cups. How interesting, because this is quite slightly melancholy. How curious. A slightly melancholy place, and yet we have this shaft of light coming up here. I wonder, lovely Libras, almost as if you are moving into a place where something that would previously have affected you, got you down, it's like it no longer, it's not that it no longer has an impact. It's almost as if you literally have the capacity to transform it. You see this hand coming in. This is really interesting me. This singing bowl with all the light coming from it, as if a hand is coming in and offering you something. Okay. Or maybe you're able to offer something to someone. What do we see here? Okay, so we have 5 of Wands, which is a card of competitiveness, actually. But I'm seeing you rise to the top of your game in some way, shape or form. We have Temperance in reverse. We have King of Swords, and we have Justice in reverse. How interesting. How very, very interesting. So beautiful Libras. Yes, I think there is a situation around you. And this does connect to some of my lovely Libra friends, actually. But I feel there is a situation around you that's called for you to develop your discernment. It's been calling for a while, almost as if there's been a testing and a testing and a testing. I think you've had to face people who are competitive, envious, jealous, people who actually, whose actions have continually sort of tested your ability to remain balanced. A lovely Libra, you like to be balanced, but people sometimes knock you off balance. And I feel like this is the moon month when you've kind of cracked it, for want of a better way of saying it. I literally think you reach a point where you are no longer affected by this kind of behaviour. I think there have been people around you who, in many ways, at a level of soul, have tested you. And from that testing, through having to navigate this again and again and again, having to rebalance yourself again and again and again, you've reached a point where you are unaffected. You're not knocked off balance. You haven't even got to think about it. You're in charge of things. Look at the crow sitting up here above this King of Swords, and we have the owl and the bat. This is all about transformation. We have melanosis, darkening, the snake of transformation, the crow who flies between the worlds. You are literally able to transcend this kind of low vibrational stuff, which means that whereas I think previously buttons might have been pressed for you, you are now able to, it's like water off a duck's back. You're not energetically affected by this anymore. It's like, honestly, you just look at it and think, kind of really? And it's really interesting because I think it gives you the most extraordinary level of power. This is really interesting because I'm now seeing this 4 of Cups in a very different way. Whereas I think there have been some people around you who've pressed your buttons, they've almost done it intentionally to poke you, to wind you up, to cause you to feel a bit young, really, or to feel quite down about things. Curiously enough, you're rising above to a point where, you know, instead of getting hooked into things and thinking, oh God, I want retribution, you know, I'm so pissed off, I want to get my own back. I'm not saying you do, but you know what I mean. It pulls those threads in us very, very easily. It's a human thing. And it is as if you rise above it. And I also think from a spiritual perspective, because you're upgrading, you're reaching a level of wholeness, of connectedness, whereby you kind of know that justice will be served and it's not your problem. And interestingly enough, whereas I think people chucking stuff at you would previously have left you feeling quite small, quite inadequate, the roles are reversed, and the people who want to play those kind of games, they're feeling small and inadequate because what they do, their game playing, it doesn't work anymore. I think this feels like, to be honest, beautiful Libras, a phenomenal achievement at a level of soul growth in your pathway, on your pathway as a spiritual warrior. And I think it's going to alter your course and your ability to manifest in the world, because your personal energy, your intention, your resonance is going to be on a working at a very, very different level. So my beautiful Libras, this feels like an extraordinary turning point in your world. Really, literally a life-changing turning point, because life will never be the same again. You will never handle things in the same way again, because it's like, I think you're quite liberated. So my beautiful Libras, I think what I am going to do in the extended readings, super lovely Libras, thank you for joining me here on YouTube. I think where I'm going to go with this in the extended readings for my Patreon people, and you're very welcome to join me if you wish, but this may be enough for you. But I think what we will do in the extended readings is have a little look at this upgrade. And in one way, I feel like it's enough for you to have that. It's like there's such a liberation and a freedom that comes with it, and a sense of knowing that you don't have to deliver justice. It's like the universe is going to take care of things from henceforth, and it frees you to set your course and create your intentions and work them through. But I do actually think in the extended readings, I think where I'm going to go with it is to look at this upgrade, and also to then look at how and where you place your intentions, and kind of how this new phase of your world is going to flow, and also to see what you can do with it within this next month. You know, is there anything with this competitiveness that you need to be aware of, these kind of people in your upgrading, or are you just going to kind of breeze this, because I do feel you crack it. And I think we'll ask a lot of questions about where this is going, how it's going to start to manifest in your life, and you know, ask for guidance and information about how you can really utilize this newfound status, but status that is non-ego. It's like spiritual status. How is this now going to emerge? So my lovely, lovely Libras, you are very welcome to join me. For those of you who are already on Patreon, thank you so much for being there, and I will see you in the extended readings, the full readings with this bit and the extras, and I do hope you're also enjoying your tutorials as well. Beautiful Libras, I look forward to seeing you for other readings, or indeed on Patreon. Tons and tons of love to you all. This is phenomenal, really. It's just amazing. Hey beautiful Scorpios, let's have a look and see what we are shown for you. So in this magical moon month, these readings are kind of so powerful in terms of just the astro energy that is around. It's quite extraordinary. So you have the red and white rose. Scorpio, this feels very intense. You have wise salt as well. Look at the colours coming through in your reading. Wow. Okay, let's draw some runes for you as well. How fascinating. What is coming through in your reading, lovely Scorpios? There's a lot of energy taking place. Really feel it emanating. So we have the rune of fertility. Okay, so that's pretty powerful, pretty exciting. We have the rune of openings, equally exciting. We have the rune of ice, Isa. we have the rune of joy, and we have the rune of breakthrough. This is very interesting. I feel like there's going to be quite a distinct flow of energy for you guys through this moon month, with probably a pause in the middle. Lovely Scorpios, I think you master something this month, this moon month. With the rune of fertility, it would suggest that this is something you've been working on for a little while. You master it, you complete it, you bring it forth. You know, it's like if you were working on a painting for a while, this is the time when you reach that point when you know you're not going to be doing any more work on it. You complete it. It's ready. It's there to be seen. It's manifest and it's stunning. Or you've written a book, or you've come to some conclusion. There's something, some kind of piece of wisdom that you're ready to share. And I feel that there is perhaps a distinct turning point for you in the centre of this moon month, probably around the full moon. You know, we start a moon month with a new moon. I actually think, lovely Scorpios, that there is a point at which you are wrapping something up, finishing something off, and then you are at this point of delivery, of completion, of revealing it, of showing it, of sharing it. Let's draw some more cards for you. May we ask for more information about this moon month for our lovely Scorpios. What is this about? May we ask, what is completed? What is this about? I'm seeing this card and also this one. I'm going to look at the base as well. 3 of Wands. So this is a point of celebration. The 3 of Wands means that you've invested in something. You've certainly created like the first draft, as it were, and you're ready then to take it to the next stage. The interesting thing is, though, my beautiful souls, I don't actually think, it's really interesting, I'm really drawn to the card beneath as well, which is the Empress. I'm just going to bring this out too. I really do feel that you are about to give birth to something. If we think of the 3 of Wands, that turning point as being a moment where you've invested, you've worked at something like a pregnancy, and this is then the moment of giving birth. It's a whole new beginning. It's a breakthrough point. It's a whole new phase of something, but simultaneously it's also a completion in its own right. The pregnancy is completed. The creation is completed. You've arrived at that point of opening, and then there is this moment before we move to the next stage, the next phase, the breakthrough, the moment of joy. How interesting. Okay, we have the 8 of Cups. We have the 7 of Cups. Okay, we have the Knight of Swords in reverse. And we also have the Page of Swords. Okay. Something completes. That's absolutely certain. Something comes to its natural completion. But as a completion, it is also a beginning. Like this birthing. It's really interesting because it doesn't feel like a rebirth, lovely Scorpios. If it was a rebirth, it would be something that you had been working on, or something that was coming to its natural completion and you were now going to sort of rebirth and emerge. It doesn't feel like a rebirth. It feels literally like a birth of something. So the birthing of something you have worked on, you've created, you've been active in producing it, creating it, whether it's a baby, you know, whether it is, you know, a project, a book, a relationship, or something, whatever it is that's personal to you. This is something you've worked at. It's something that you have desired. It's something that has this flavour of, I sort of want to say, perfection about it. You know, there's something absolutely delicious about this. There's a real celebratory energy. And it means that you can, yeah, it's a pause. We see with the Eight of Cups, she's walking away from something, but she's walking to a new dawn. I sort of feel with you there is this point of, it is this point of creation, but of emergence. And as you have this pause in the middle, it almost feels like because something comes to a completion, you've then got to pause in order to think about, okay, where am I going to take this next? Because I can build on this, I can move forwards, or I can start a new project, or I can just revel in the enjoyment of this creation. But where will you go next? It's like you then have choices, lovely Scorpios. And I think what's going to happen, this is very fascinating, beautiful Scorpios. I actually think not only do you complete something and produce it, birth it, but you then actually, having paused in the middle, I think you discover the direction of how you are now going to almost like write it. Let's say you wrote a screenplay, you suddenly, you then get the idea to write the sequel. It's like there's more to come, and yet this is complete in itself. So it feels like you've written an episode, and or you've produced something, and on the basis of that, you can now produce the next bit, and it will come to you. You'll literally know what you're going to do next. So there's a completion, an arrival, a celebration, a pause. What shall I do now? Where do I go with this? And then I know. I'll go in this direction. I'll move in that direction. Where's my next creative venture? Where's my next something happening? Where do I want to take this? Where do I want to move my life forward to? It feels very pivotal, very distinct for you, Scorpios. This distinct completion, opening, arrival, pause. That's where I'm going next. Kind of flow of energy for you. How fascinating. So my lovely Scorpios, thank you so much for joining me here on YouTube. I think what I am going to do in the extended readings, the full readings that go onto Patreon, if anyone is interested in those, or indeed if you're on Patreon, I think what we're going to do is delve into some more detailed information. Not just so much about what you're bringing to fruition, because that's what it feels like, bringing to fruition, but kind of actually what are the choices that this then opens up, and what are these new ideas, what's unfolding, where are you going to take this? Is this something that you're going to build on? Have you made a prototype and you're now going to take it further forwards? Or have you written a chapter of something and you get the sequel idea or the next chapter? You know where I'm going with this. So I think we're going to look at this pause in the middle. We're going to look at any advice and guidance to bring this to fruition, anything that is needed to be seen to assist you in that delivery, that birthing, that arrival. And then I think, my lovely Scorpios, we will draw cards around the choices that this is opening up for you, and how this is going to then kind of give you a breakthrough moment and take you on further along your pathway, your journey, and what this is all about. A little bit more information, really. So Super Souls, you are welcome to join me for these extended readings on Patreon, and thank you to all of you who are already there. You are appreciated and loved, and wonderful Scorpios, have an amazing month. Hey beautiful Saggies, let's have a look and see what we are shown for you for the next moon month. Oh wow, these cards are feeling very excited by your energy, Sagittarius. How exciting. Now I really well, I'm doing it. We're going with 3. Just feels like it's really important, but all the other readings so far have had 2. So we have the card of spring. Okay, so something is emerging for you, Sagittarius. We have virgin's milk and we have resin. How very, very interesting. I'm actually going to sit that down here and I'm going to shift those up a little bit so we can get them all in. I think that's going to work, isn't it? Just about. Yeah, just about. Okay. How very, very interesting. This feels like an incredibly transformational time. Actually, I feel I need to bring those down. We're going to bring in runes. We'll just put it here and be done with it. And we'll just go with the cards and the runes as they come. Lovely Saggies. Right, you're emerging. You're about to flower. In a way, it's like something that you kind of didn't think would be possible is going to, I don't know, bloom, burst forth, transform. How fascinating. Sagittarius, what is this about? I mean, the energy is extraordinary for this eclipse season. So let's have a look and see, lovely Saggies. What are we shown? Okay, so you have fertility showing up first. Then you have separation, Othilla, showing up second. You have the rune of joy. Oh, and you have the rune of breakthrough. How very interesting. Okay. This is a powerful time of transformation, very specifically transformation for you, Sagittarius. You're about to blossom, you're about to flower, you're about to come into your own in some way. It's like you've outgrown a situation and you can now emerge. Curiously, and I feel like with this resin card, it's like if you think about resin, it's like it can hold things in suspended animation. You can sort of see them. You know, like you get like an amber stone with an insect in it that has been there for, you know, maybe, I don't know, thousands and thousands of years. So the amber was a resin and then it set. So you can sort of see things in it. You can see things clearly that are connected to kind of like timelines. Very, very interesting. But I do feel what this card is actually saying is something that has been suspended in time can now be seen or can now emerge, and you're blossoming, you're flourishing in some way, Sagittarius. Let's draw some more cards for you. May we have more information for our lovely Saggies. May we have more information for Sagittarius, please. Let's go with those. It's quite a lot of cards, but let's do it. And let's have a look at what is on the reverse of the pack. Okay. 5 of Swords. Can you see this figure here? He looks utterly liberated in the background. Yeah. I think you're about to be liberated from something that's been suspended in time. Something that's been giving you a bit of a hard time, something that you've been able to see but not move forwards. Ace of Wands, beautiful energy. Yes. We then have the Sun, it's in reverse. We have the 7 of Swords, also in reverse. We have the World in reverse, and then we have the Ace of Cups, also in reverse. How very, very interesting. So what I'm feeling here with these cards is, it's like I don't quite know where to place this card, this third card. Okay, so I'm going to pick it up because I want to move these along. I actually feel that what we're looking at here in reverse are the things that have been sort of, I don't know, stuck, let's say, or in suspended animation. There's been some things, I think, Saggies, that you've wanted, you've been dreaming of, you've been visioning in, you've been working at manifesting, and yet you haven't quite managed to bring them forth. It's almost like you've caught glimpses of them, as if these dreams have been frozen in time and you've caught glimpses of them, but you've never quite managed to quite bring them in. And this is a turning point when something in you can emerge, something of those dreams, something that's been held in suspended animation in your mind, something you've thought of can now be sort of, I don't know, released, formed, allowed, visioned in. And I think there may be more than one thing for you, Saggies. It may be that you've been manifesting on a multitude of layers. And what we're actually seeing here is that you've really held that vision. And I really feel like there are these different areas of your world with the Ace of Cups, some aspect of connection to relationship here. With the World, there's been some stuff going on that you wanted to get completed, get finished. With the Seven of Swords, I think there's been a desire to see more clearly, to be able to see the way through some stuff. With the Sun, I think there's stuff you're wanting to create and bring forth. And with this spring, this tree, I'm seeing more than one sort of gem growing on the tree, more than one aspect of your world blossoming. And here we have the Virgin's milk. This is the stuff that we wouldn't have thought would ever be really possible. You think, well, how is that possible? And yet it is. So yeah, I feel like several of your dreams that have been held in suspended animation are actually completely and utterly, I think they have been, held in suspended animation, and I think they are completely and utterly resonating and blossoming during this kind of eclipse period. So we see a breakthrough, we see joy, we see you outgrowing a situation where something maybe hasn't felt quite right. I think this is really cool, Sagittarius. I really, really do. I honestly think you're manifesting on more than one level, and somehow the energy is really, really supporting you in shifting lots of things forwards, literally emerging, blossoming, stuff that's really given you a bit of a headache before. I think you've swung between that sort of place of holding that Sagittarius positivity, that optimism, that dream, yes, this can happen, yes, I believe, versus, oh, it'll never happen, this is such a headache, why does it never work out for me? You know, that sort of swinging motion between, it's almost like the hope and despair kind of swinging sometimes, where you think something's just happening and then it doesn't. I think this is a moon month when a lot of things that have felt as if they've been almost waiting to burst forth actually do. Sagittarius, this is super, super, super for you. So my lovely Saggies, I think what I will do, I mean, this is gorgeous. I think what I will do in the extended readings, so thank you so, so much for joining me here on YouTube. Saggies, I think this is magic, blossoming, happening, and in more than one area of your world. But I think what I'm going to do in the extended readings, which will be on Patreon, and you are very welcome to join me and my lovely Patreon family to dive into that. I think what we're going to do is look at these different areas, because they feel really exciting. And I also kind of am curious as to what creates this breakthrough moment. Because we have the rune of Othilla, separation. What is it that you are outgrowing? What is creating this point of transformation? It may just be the energy of the eclipse. That may be exactly the energy that's around that is going to help you to create this shift. But I think that's what we're going to do. We'll look at these different areas of manifestations for you in the extended readings. We'll do a deep dive and discover more about it. And if there is any information and guidance that Spirit wishes you to hear to bring forth and activate this process of emergence, of blossoming. That's really what I want to say, of blossoming, of these lovely, lovely different scenarios and situations and areas of your world starting to truly flourish. So beautiful Saggies, thank you so, so much for joining me here on YouTube. I look forward to seeing some of you on Patreon. Those of you who are already there, thank you so, so much. And for anyone who wishes to check those readings out, do feel free to come and join us. Tons and tons of love, Saggies. This is so exciting. Hey, lovely Capricorns, let's see what is happening for you. Whoa, this moon month. Do you know, I'm really having trouble actually holding these cards for you. So what is so electric for our Capricorns this month? Okay, so there are your two cards. Let's have a little look and see what we have. So you have mortification. Look at this eye. And then you have vinegar. These are two very, very interesting cards, lovely Capricorns. So let us see. Let's draw some runes for you first as well. And then I think we will also take some tarot cards. Obviously, we've got a flavour of what's happening already, the overall flow of energy. Do you know this rune? Signs, signals, synchronicities, answers. It comes out, it's been coming out in so many of these readings. If you're looking at your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, you may have seen it already. It really tells us that this eclipse energy of synchronicity is absolutely around us during this moon month. We have Berkana, the rune of growth. Then we have fertility, the rune of nourishment, possession. Sorry, no, we have the rune of nourishment, possessions here as well. Fertility is really interesting because this is a fruit-bearing rune, and so actually is nourishment, possessions. This is like ambitions satisfied, unexpected rewards and gains. This is new beginnings. Berkana, the rune of growth. This is a whole new phase of life. I feel like you're being shown something, but I also feel, lovely Capricorns, you're being shown it in a very specific way. That's what I'm feeling with these cards already. Now let's dive straight into some tarot cards. Okay. Ooh, what are we showing for our beautiful Capricorns, please? This one. And let me have a look on the bottom of the pack for you as well. Knight of Wands. Aha. Okay, this is kind of like a celebration. This is really, really interesting, beautiful Capricorns. I really feel that you are about to launch into some kind of a new phase of life, mainly because something has kind of come to an end. It's something, you've been shown something that is no longer working. It didn't feel good. It left you with a bad taste in your mouth. Yeah, something has wound its way to its end. I think you're probably still in the process of literally processing that ending. But what we're seeing with this new moon month, this new phase of opportunity, and it is loaded with opportunity because it's like a gateway in itself. The whole energy of the eclipse month is a portal of opportunity for us to make some very clear choices and decisions to move ourselves along in the direction that we want to go in. Now, this is really suggesting that you kind of go out and have some fun. Okay, Capricorns, go out, have some fun, enjoy life. Go and do stuff that maybe previously you haven't done because there was a situation or a circumstance around you that was restricting. Something hasn't worked out for you, whatever this was. And yeah, I do feel it left you with a bad taste in your mouth kind of thing. It may be something that you invested quite a lot in and then it just, do you know, it just didn't come to fruition. It just didn't. It kind of just either diminished on its own. It sort of, I don't know, kind of settled into a place of decay almost. But something has not worked out. But now is the time to kind of, yeah, get yourself back out there. It's, you know, there's that saying, isn't it? Get back in the saddle. That's what this card is really saying. Go out and have some fun, Capricorn. Yeah, now we have the Seven of Swords in reverse. We have the Ace of Cups. Aha. We have the Three of Wands. And we have the Page of Wands in reverse. Okay. Interestingly enough, I feel, lovely Capricorns, that some of you may still be feeling a little bit bruised from this situation, a little bit, yeah, you're still processing it. That's fair comment. Whatever it was that came to it ran its course, okay? But it has left you not feeling so good. And yes, you are still processing that. What your reading is really saying is, and it kind of connects to perception as well, is, you know, rather than seeing something that didn't feel good, it didn't taste good, it didn't feel right, rather than seeing it as a negative, this reading is asking you to see it as a positive. You know, there's something about the law of attraction. I don't know if any of you have listened. I'm sure many of you will have done. Listened to some of the Abraham Hicks channelings. And, you know, in some of those channelings, I mean, they do consistently repeat that when we have an experience that doesn't feel good, the purpose of it is to give us a contrast. Because if you have an experience that doesn't feel good, actually, it allows you to identify what would feel good, what would taste better. You know, and there's something in this reading about, yeah, for sure, listen to something that didn't feel good and process that experience, but process it with a view of seeing it as a sign to help you to define what you would really love, what you would really like. So whatever this was, however it ended, however it's coming to its natural completion, it's run its course. So something has run its course, it's winding down. Some of you may still be kind of slightly connected to it. You're either processing it because it has ended, or you're still experiencing something of that sort of bitter taste and thinking, I don't like this isn't working for me. But the purpose, the signs that you're being given are not to make you feel bad about this experience or this circumstance, situation, whatever it is for you personally. The purpose of it is solely to help you identify what you do want. And that's what's being shown here. Feels like a law of attraction kind of reading. So we're being given signs, and the fact that this is in reverse, this Seven of Swords, I think is sort of, we're being shown that you are being given a sign, but in reverse, that maybe you're not picking up on it or interpreting it. You might be interpreting it as, oh, this is just rubbish, rather than, oh, this isn't feeling good, I therefore want the opposite. So you're kind of being invited to understand everything, even if it doesn't taste so good, it's a bit bitter, then it's giving you information. So that's the kind of energy around. You are literally, during this moon month, potentially being offered an opportunity to launch a new phase of your life. Go out, have fun, go do some stuff that you really fancy doing, okay? You know, maybe even some stuff that you've thought of doing, but you've never ventured into that territory, something that's maybe a little bit different. Reach out, be prepared to take an ownership of what you do want, rather than dwelling in the picture of what you don't want, even if it's still around you. You know, even if this is still around you, you're still processing it. It's kind of time during this eclipse season, this moon month, to start to look ahead. Now we know that the energy overall is really supporting exactly that flow anyway. Three of Wands, it feels for me as if there is a turning point for you here. Now with the rune of fertility, and with also this beautiful rune of possessions, nourishment, I do feel that, because this suggests an unexpected reward or an unexpected gain. Now it could simply be that the unexpected outcome is that something that's kind of feeling a bit rubbish actually gives you a bit of a shove in a different direction. You've had enough, you've reached that point, and because it's given you a shove in the other direction, it causes you to sort of say, do you know what, I am going to do something about this, I really can't live with this anymore. And it gives you the shove you need to move forwards. Or it gives you the information you need to identify something that you do want to do. But one way or the other, there is an energy around you that is going to take you into the territory of something that could be a little bit unexpected, not quite where you thought you would go, interestingly enough. But the energy, Capricorn, is to move you forwards during this portal, this moon month. And with the Page of Wands in reverse, I sort of feel like the energy is going to take you there. Almost, it's kind of like that's just the way it's going. It's like there's an inevitability here. This has to come to its natural end. There is an inevitability. I sort of feel like you can jump on board and go with it, or you can be dragged kicking and screaming, but I sort of feel it's going to happen anyway. So Capricorn, that's the real flavour of where you're going, but with huge potential for a new phase of life, which feels pretty big. I think what we will do, lovely Capricorns, in the extended readings is I kind of think what we're going to do is really ask about what this new chapter is about and ask for more information. I sort of feel we don't need to delve into what's actually not right, because I feel like you're really immersed in it. When something reaches the card of mortification, it's in a place of decay. You know, this isn't something that's new. This has been decaying for a while. You know, the vinegar card, it's leaving a bad taste in your mouth. Something's not working for you. I think you're fully aware of whatever it is in the context of your own life that isn't working. And beautiful Capricorn people, if you're only staying with us here on YouTube, you know, this is an amazing month of opportunity for you. So, you know, real blessings to you. For those of you that are interested in the extended readings, I think where I'm going to go with it is really to kind of ask for guidance and information about where this is potentially going. If there's anything that you can do in an active way to assist this in moving forwards, I do feel it's going to happen anyway. But yeah, maybe some information really to help you to navigate into this new phase, maybe more easily, in a steady way, maybe in an empowered way. You know, there's a lot going on, Capricorn, astrologically for you guys. So, you know, because of the intensity of some of the astro stuff for you guys, I think it's really helpful to maybe give you an anchor point, so, and to get a feel of where things are going. So I think that's where my focus will be in the extended readings. You are very, very welcome to join me. They will be on Patreon, which is a site that works on donations. If you wish to just stay here on YouTube, I mean, thank you for joining me today. Thank you so much, and thank you all of you who are already connected with me on Patreon for joining me for the bigger readings and also the tutorials. Lovely Capricorns, this is actually a really brilliant opportunity. I can see this has possibly been eating away at you a little bit. I mean, vinegar is quite corrosive. But actually there is real opportunity within this, and there's something about shifting your perspective and energy. So we'll do more in the extended reading. Do join me if you wish to, and if not, really truly embrace the new, lovely Capricorns, because this is a moon month which is full of possibilities. Go out and have some fun, kind of lighten up and really focus on what you do want rather than what you don't. Tons and tons of love. Hey, lovely Aquarius, let's find out what is happening for you. You have Jupiter, wow, and autumn. That's very fast. So, how very, very interesting. Right, lovely Aquarius. Your first cards for this moon month are autumn and Jupiter. So something is coming to fruition. That's really lovely. Something is literally coming to fruition. I'm going to draw your runes before we say too much more. Yeah, I feel like you're about to be rewarded for something here. Jupiter expanded. Something you've already invested in is something you've invested in the past is about to come to fruit, bring reward, come to harvest. How exciting. Your runes. Okay, so Fehu, possessions, nourishment, unexpected rewards and gains, ambitions satisfied. What have you been working on that is about to happen? It's about to emerge. We have the rune of movement. This is the bettering of any situation. It's something gathering momentum. We have partnership. Okay. How interesting. We have the rune of breakthrough, and we have the rune of flow. Okay. This is like a previous investment pays off. That's what I'm seeing, Aquarius. Something you've already started, contributed to, invested in. It could be a partnership, whether that's personal or whether it is, you know, business, financial. Could be a partnership connection to, you know, whatever. Yeah, it's a connection with something you have previously invested in is about to come into fruition. and potentially expand. Let's draw cards. What else are we shown? Let's draw some tarot cards. What else are we shown for lovely Aquarius? This feels fruitful for you. I also feel like a time of activity that's really coming through very strongly. I don't think you're going to be idle during this month, lovely Aquarius. We have the Three of Pentacles as well in reverse. How interesting. Also the Ace of Pentacles was sitting under it, and I feel really drawn to both. And what I'm seeing with both of these cards, particularly in reverse, again, collaboration, partnership. I almost feel like something you've previously invested in, it's not only does it come to fruition, but it steadies. I'm seeing steady growth here. I'm not seeing what's the word? It's like when you reach a point of harvest. There's still work to be done. And you know, if you think about it, harvest time is a really, really busy time for a farmer or a grower. You know, they've grown, they've invested, they've worked at something all the year. Harvest time is very, very, very busy. They've kind of got to bring in the rewards. So I feel like this is both a very busy time. I think there's going to be collaboration. You're going to need support and help here to bring in the harvest. And I think you're going to see not just something come to fruition, but something that is then going to sort of steadily grow or steadily emerge. The full potential of something is going to be arriving. We have the Four of Wands. Now this is a card of celebration. It's in reverse. So again, I'm seeing celebration. Eight of Pentacles coming in, but I'm seeing the celebration coming in steadily. Aquarius, I think this is a month of steady progress for you. I feel like you can make your mark in some way, shape or form, if that makes sense. Yeah, you can make your mark. We have the King of Wands also in reverse. Everything in your reading, I feel, Aquarius, is saying, don't rush, enjoy your success. Whatever is coming to fruition that you have been investing in, you've been building, you've been growing, it's like it takes hold, and it will require, you're going to require collaboration, support to be able to move this forwards. Take it steady. Celebrate. Don't kind of assume that if, I don't know, you know, like if you've set up a store and you've been working and you launch the store and wow, it's like it goes really, really, really well. Don't kind of then go out and spend all that money on the first day, because actually launch day you might make, you know, thousands of pounds. You're going to get a steady income from this and it's going to build and build, but actually you need to be thoughtful about the resources you have. That's what we're being shown here. You know, don't assume that if you make, say, £1,000 on your first day, that you're going to make £1,000 every single day. What you're going to see is that massive, that big launch, the real success, and then you're going to see steady ongoing progress that will require further investment and thoughtfulness. But there is this sort of breakthrough point. We're seeing something start to emerge, start to take hold, to get a footing. We're seeing celebration, growth, massive potential to take this forwards, but it needs to be steady growth. And there's definitely advice coming through here for you, beautiful Aquarius, about how you approach that from a steady, thought through position. So you think not just about what you've achieved today, but how you want to take that investment further in the future. What shape do you want this wonderful thing that is emerging for you, that's happening, that you've invested in and built? What shape do you want it to look like in the future? And this is really, really relevant to the overall flow of energy as well. I think there is really a great deal of success coming to you, but it's going to require further investment and further steady progress. But it's also really zingy and exciting and wonderful, because we reach this point where it's like, we can launch this, we can open the store, we can, I don't know, make that commitment to something. And now we've made that commitment, how are we now going to take this forwards? It definitely connects to other people. That I'm also seeing with the rune of partnership. There's definitely a collaboration going on. This is not something you're doing alone. Okay, lovely Aquarius, definitely involves other people. I actually think, Aquarius, this is going to be both a fruitful, productive, exciting, but requiring steady progress and further work kind of a month, if that makes some sense. So I think what I am going to do, lovely I was about to call you Capricorn, my apologies, Aquarius. I think what I'm going to do, lovely Aquarius, is I think what I'll do in the extended readings is probably focus on this area of further investment, and maybe also look at this collaboration as well. Because Aquarius, what we're seeing is it's something you've already been working on and building on. So I want to say congratulations. Congratulations, Aquarius. You deserve this success. This is fantastic. What we're also really seeing here is kind of this turning point of, you know, when something comes to fruition, where do we go from here? So lovely Aquarius, I think what I will do in the extended readings is we'll look very specifically at the collaboration area, first of all, and also what these future possibilities are, because I sort of see as if, it looks to me as if there's more than one avenue that you could potentially take this in as well. You know, and it's, you know, I'm thinking about where will your focus be with the King of Wands in reverse. You know, does this mean that there is a sense of, you know, there's so many different directions this could go in that it's quite hard to know what you want to manifest and where to focus on first. So I think that's what we're going to do in the extended readings. Beautiful Aquarius, you are very, very welcome to join me in those extended readings. They are there for all signs on Patreon, which is a different site. I've already spoken about that. And for those of you that wish to just stay here on YouTube, thank you for joining me. I hope this is really, really helpful to you. I do want to say congratulations, Aquarius, because you've worked for this, and you may already have a really clear idea of how you are planning ahead anyway, in which case the extended readings may not be relevant to you. Super souls, tons of love. Thank you for joining me, and for all of you who are already on Patreon or thinking of coming over, just thank you so much. You are truly appreciated. Tons and tons of love to you, Aquarius. Hey lovely Pisces, how are you doing? Let's have a look and see what is happening for you for the coming moon month. Okay, those are your first two cards. We have the Virgin's Milk and also the Red and White Rose. Wow, getting those together is really, really something else. Okay, really, really something else. Two roses, wow. Oh, okay, let's draw some runes and then I'm just going to dive straight in. Because, gosh, this is like something, it's almost like the impossible becomes possible. Okay. How interesting. Yes, something can emerge that you would never have thought possible. Something's arriving. Yes, look at this. We have the rune of openings, Kano. Okay, that's your first rune. I feel like a doorway is opening for you. Something is arriving, emerging, happening, opening, that is going to give you an opportunity to do something that you might previously have not thought would be possible. I do think it will involve you, I was going to say letting go of something. I mean, this is Othilla. This rune is a rune of separation. It's also a rune of inheritance, of gain. You know, it's like when we let go of one thing, the gain is the something else that we get from it, you know. But yeah, something arriving that makes something possible for you. A shift occurring. Berkana is the rune of growth. This is the rune of, this is a whole new phase of something, a new something. A new phase of life, a new job, a new... Gosh, I don't know. But these are big cards because it's something that you didn't think would be possible becomes possible. Or something you've struggled with or wanted to create. The rune of journey. How interesting. We then have Hagelas, the rune of disruption. Okay, now with the rune of journey, there's kind of two messages that come with this, lovely Pisces. It could mean sometimes that we journey within. We remove resistances and the pathway forwards happens. It opens up for us. But this could actually connect to you sort of either relocating, or because of the Berkana, the new phase, you might find yourself literally physically moving in some way, shape or form. Yeah, a journey could be involved. Whatever, what's really, really interesting, whatever this is about, I do think it's going to change some aspect of your world. Something that is currently steady. For some of you, it could even feel a bit stale. But something that is consistent, I think, has the potential to change. But it's changing because you have something new to moved to in some way, shape or form. So let's draw some tarot cards. What else are we showing for Pisces? I do feel like there is a potential move of some sort. That's the energy, that's the word that's coming through. A moving, whether it's a moving of job or a moving of house or a moving of location. There's a move afoot. May we ask for more information for our lovely Pisces, please? More information for our lovely Pisces. Let's look at the reverse too. Six of Cups. Okay. That's like a card of nostalgia. I wonder with the Mercury retrograde energy as well, whether you guys will revisit something or go back to something, maybe an idea that you put on the back boiler, something you didn't think was possible, suddenly becomes possible. Something happens to give you what you need in order to go back to something that you once had as a cherished idea, a cherished perspective, a cherished, I'd love to do this, or I'd like that, or whatever, I'd like to live there, or whatever it is. Yeah, we then have the Hermit card. We also have the card of Strength. We have the King of Wands, and we have the Page of Swords. I think that whatever this is, it's something that you've held dear to your heart. And it probably will involve you learning some new skills. I think it will probably involve you having to embrace, learning new skills, doing some research, looking into something. Because I think it will be quite disrupting. It'll be enjoyed, it will be appreciated, it will be wanted. This is something that you have previously wanted to do. It mattered to you. It was something you previously thought that you would love to do, but it wouldn't be possible. Somehow something arrives to make it possible. Yeah, it could even be like a vocation, a calling, whatever it is. But whatever you move to, you're going to have to learn some new stuff in order to make it happen. But yeah, it feels like a cherished dream for some of you. It really does, Pisces. Just sort of connecting in as well, Pisces, to the overall flow of energy in this moon month. And these cards, I do, and these runes, I do actually feel with the eclipse energy that it could also be something that will not only benefit you, be something that you will, like you're returning to something that you'd love to do, but I do feel it could, I don't know, there's something about a legacy for future generations. Doing something that would make a difference. Really seeing that sense of the past and the present and the future in this card. Yeah, creating something that's worthy of future generations, that might make a difference in some way. I think for some of you, there is a cherished dream. It does feel quite disrupting, but, you know, in the best possible way. You know, it's kind of one of those things, isn't it, where somebody offers you something and you really want to do it, but it just radically changes all sorts of areas of your life. So you kind of, and you've also got to try and find the time to physically learn the new skills you're going to need to learn in order to bring it forth. But it feels very, very possible. There could be financial resources coming to you with the rune of Othilla. Some sort of finances that make something possible. So you could get some financial gain. And yeah, some of you, I do see a move, literally. A move to something. It doesn't feel like a move away, it's much more a move to. There's a very different energy, isn't there, when we move away from something as opposed to moving to something. And this is definitely a moving to, but it is something you have previously revisited in your mind, in your thoughts, in your dreams. It's something you've considered before, you've contemplated it. And yeah, maybe there just weren't the resources or the physical energy or time. The timing might not have been right, but something previously, it just, yeah, it wasn't right. You didn't have the resources, the energy to be able to put this into action. And I do feel there could be something coming to you, lovely Pisces, that, yeah, it does feel as though something that wasn't possible now enters the realm of genuine possibility. And by the end of this eclipse moon month, you're going to be kind of looking at actually what do you need to do, what do you need to learn, what do you need to put in place in order to make this actually make this move, to cross that bridge, to make it actually happen in real terms. And yeah, I do feel it connects to some sort of legacy, something that could benefit others as well into the future. Beautiful Pisces. Really, really enjoying your reading. I think, lovely Pisces, what I am going to do is, for this reading on YouTube, we'll kind of wrap it up here. But I think for anyone that's interested in the extended reading, which will be on Patreon, I think what I'm going to do is draw some cards around this rune Othilla. The separation, the inheritance. What is it that's coming to you? How is this arriving to assist you in moving forwards? And also, I kind of really feel, lovely Pisces, that I want to take a sneaky peek into not just maybe how this is activated, and we may or may not be shown, but you know, I'm curious on your behalf, but also what is it that you're needing to step into? What do you need to learn? What do you need to do? And also almost like a sneaky peek into the future, because it feels as though this is something that's really quite exciting, that's going to benefit more than just you. So I'm really, really curious to get a flavour of where it's going. So that, I think, is going to be my focus in your extended readings. The big readings, the full readings, are all on Patreon, the extended readings. You're very, very welcome to join me. Super Souls, thank you for joining me here on on YouTube. It is an absolute joy to read for you. And for those of you who are already on Patreon, or those of you who are thinking of coming across, thank you so, so much. You are really, really appreciated. Beautiful Pisces. Sort of feels like a bit of a dream. I'm not saying it won't be disruptive, but it really does feel like it's like something, you know, pretty fab is in the making here. So, you know, tons and tons of love to you. Have an amazing moon month.